There is a vast space between what a capable educator projects and the emotional weight they carry inside. This is the appearance gap. Schools naturally mistake this outward competence for actual well-being. An engaged, highly organized teacher doesn't trigger concern. Instead, they receive appreciation, excellent performance reviews, and inevitably, more responsibility. Because they project such total strength and reliability, colleagues and administration simply assume they are handling the workload. The thought to ask if they are actually okay never crosses anyone's mind. Over time, that constant stream of praise makes telling the truth incredibly difficult. When everyone expects you to be the strong one, admitting you are exhausted feels like a personal failure, so you hide it. A system that relies on this flawless outward projection is walking into a trap. Rewarding a teacher's silent endurance doesn't build resilience. It simply guarantees their eventual collapse. The school day ends, the last student leaves, and the environment drastically changes. The teacher goes from managing a high-energy, densely populated room directly into the absolute quiet of an empty apartment. This is where the second shift begins. The invisible labor of managing life logistics, buying the groceries, cooking for one, handling administrative friction, all tackled solo after a day that has already drained their reserves. The cognitive load of making every micro-decision alone is what truly drains the reservoir. Without a partner to split the mental overhead, every small choice adds to the weight of the large ones made at school. Outsiders looking in are completely blind to this reality. They see the perfectly prepared lesson plan and the confident presentation. They see the polished output, completely unaware of the taxing, hidden architecture required to produce it. Caring deeply about the student's work is real, but it does not neutralize the vacuum of support waiting at home. Relying entirely on an individual's ability to tough it out in isolation is a mathematically unsustainable strategy. When teachers hit a wall, the standard advice is usually to find your why or remember why you started. This is actively harmful. It demands even more emotional labor from someone whose reserves are already entirely depleted. Survival requires something physical, not just aspirational advice. It requires an internal architecture, a set of strict mechanical systems a solo teacher builds to force a separation between work and rest. The first pillar is a hard physical boundary. This means literally closing the laptop, walking out of the room, and declaring the day finished. The brain requires a physical signal to stop processing the workday. The second pillar is a protected activity. This is one specific habit that has absolutely nothing to do with school, self-improvement, or efficiency. It exists solely for the individual, providing a space where nothing is demanded of them. The third is partial honesty. Telling one person, even just once, that the isolation is difficult. The goal isn't to fix the problem. It is simply to let the burden exist outside the teacher's own head. These three specific microactions lock together to form the internal architecture. They create the critical barrier that stops work and rest from blurring into a single, exhausting continuum. Personal boundaries remain fragile if the surrounding institution operates with a toxic or unsupportive culture. Even the strongest internal systems fail when they are constantly bombarded by an environment of high pressure and low trust. Enter the external architecture, a framework of team trust and psychological safety built by leadership. By prioritizing open communication over rigid control, leaders distribute heavy emotional labor evenly across the entire team, functionally preventing individual burnout. When that level of psychological safety is established, the fear of looking weak vanishes. The high-performing solo teacher finally has the space to drop that exhausting appearance gap and explicitly ask for help. A leader defines their success by the resilience of the team, building an external architecture that sustains the school when individual strength falters. Policies are temporary. The strength of the collective is what carries the vision forward. These two architectures are entirely interdependent. Neither the individual's internal boundaries nor the leadership's external systems can bear the full weight of modern education on their own. A solo teacher can only safely practice the internal step of partial honesty if the administration has successfully built the external culture of trust necessary to receive that honesty without judgment. Combining these two systems shifts the entire definition of institutional excellence to prioritize the holistic, long-term sustainability of the educators. Success is no longer measured solely by academic output, but by the health of the people producing it. When the heavy emotional labor of performing wellness is removed, teachers regain the mental bandwidth to experiment and collaborate. This reclaimed energy is what fuels the innovation that keeps an institution growing and its classrooms inspiring. True leadership and genuine institutional success are achieved when the gap is finally closed. It is the point where the teacher who outwardly looks fine actually is fine.